Welcome back, Rohan Malhotra, the founder and CEO of Roadzen, Roadzen ticker RDZN on the NASDAQ. And congratulations, Rohan, on another solid quarter. So you just had the strongest quarter in the company's history, despite what would normally have been your seasonally weakest quarter of the year. The fourth quarter revenue up 49% year over year. So very impressive. What do you think is driving that growth?
Um, Firstly, thank you, Jane, for having me on, and always delighted to speak to you. Again, we're continuing the momentum that we have shown over the last 4 quarters, right? Which is that revenue is growing, and we are paring down our adjusted EBITDA loss basically roughly at break even at this stage. We think this is a trajectory that's come because we have significant business momentum. We see incredible adoption among enterprises, amongst clients who are car companies, amongst insurers, amongst fleet customers of Roadzen's AI that helps them underwrite better, process claims, distribute insurance products, and make the car safer. We think these are democratic tailwinds that should really carry us well into the future here. And so we are incredibly glad. I think we had 49% growth this quarter. As you said, June is seasonally supposed to be a quarter where revenues will slightly dip from March, but we actually went up, and that's incredible because it sets us up as a great base for the rest of the year. And we have said this before, we think we can get to $25 million a quarter or 100 million annualized run rate and EBITDA profitability in this year. We think that's a very achievable outcome for the year for the company, and that would be roughly up from 55 million revenue last year. So we're already showing 50% growth on that. Plus, we have an acquisition. So there's a lot of catalysts here, which we are excited to talk about.
Yeah, no, and we've been talking for a couple of years now, and I feel like this year was really kind of a pivotal year for the company, and you're continuing to progress toward profitability. So we're hearing more about the Rule of 40, where investors evaluate high growth tech companies. So can you explain what that means? And with Roadzen now delivering its second consecutive Rule of 40 quarter at a score of approximately 47, what do you think that says about the company and its path to profitability?
I think rule of 40 is a way of understanding, can you pair growth with profitability, right? So the way we calculate it is that what what's a year-over-year growth for us, that's 49%. And what's our adjusted EBITDA margin? That's negative 2%, which is very close to break even. We lost about on 16.2 million of revenue. We had an adjusted EBITDA loss of about 370K, right? So that gives you plus 49 minus 2 is about 47 as your rule of 40. And that puts you in a category of companies that are growing fast and have great fundamentals. And we think that's where Roadzen really looks to belong, is amongst these high growth technology companies. And in the world of AI, you don't see a lot of companies that have, that are very close to EBITDA break even. Well, Roadzen is almost right there, and we are approaching our target of 100 million. So we think that's an important thing for, investors to track for the company.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to ask about that. So you've done 65 million annualized revenue run rate and targeting 100 million in revenue as you exit fiscal year 2027. So, I mean, what gives you confidence that you will be able to hit that number?
So let's take our June quarter. We already at 65 on a run rate basis in revenue, and our adjusted EBITDA loss was roughly 370K, right? Um, and what we are saying is over the course of April to June quarter, we announced new deals and contracts of roughly $30 million annually. Now, all of those deals don't hit into revenue on day zero. These will mature into revenue over the course of the year. And we expect that September will be better than June and that December will be better than September. And so essentially seeing a ramp of revenue growth towards this $25 million mark a quarter that we are targeting. And you'll see improvements in EBITDA and positive EBITDA during this year as well, right? The second thing here is what gives us confidence? Well, We have 30 million of newly signed contracts over the last quarter. We have an acquisition of a leading European MGA that focuses on short-term car rental insurance. That business itself does about $20 million of revenue and slightly below $2 million of EBITDA, right? So if you look at it on a pro forma and a consolidated basis, if we close this acquisition by the end of this quarter and the projected growth, which we are saying will be above 50% on an organic basis, that should get you well past the $100 million figure over the course of the next 3 quarters here.
Now, given the closing of acquisition in a couple of months, does that contribution move Roadzen into positive adjusted EBITDA?
Well, adjusted EBITDA positive, we expect to get there on our own. And the business already makes almost, the acquisition makes almost roughly 2 million of EBITDA. So what you're going to see is that will add on, it'll be super additive. And this is a business we really like because uh, what they do is when you go to a Hertz counter and you say, I want insurance, or they offer you insurance, it's $17 a day while you rent the car. This is a company that provides that product to car rental companies, specifically in Europe. And what they have is they have short-term insurance data. Pricing an insurance for an annual policy is very different than pricing a short-term car rental insurance for 4 or 5 days. This data itself is incredibly valuable. They've been profitable since inception. So this acquisition, we think, will be an incredible asset for Roadzen. And we have many customers that have shown, interest in partnering with this new company that we're bringing in. So we think there is a additive and synergistic effect to this acquisition. And what we have shown in the last year is with the acquisitions of Elite Cover, with the acquisitions of Vehicle Care, that these businesses fit so well into Roadzen. We have accelerated their growth. We have shown incredible, upwards trajectory on profitability. These businesses are today standalone profitable, which they weren't when we acquired them. They are growing. When we acquired them, they were doing sub 2 million combined revenue. This year, we expect we could do about 20 million combined revenue from these two assets, right? So Roadzen is a great home and a platform where we can bring in companies and accelerate their growth. And that's what makes us so confident about this acquisition, about EBITDA profitability, and continued revenue growth that we are already seeing on the business.
So if you were speaking to an investor in Roadzen today, and or maybe they're just discovering the company, looking to maybe invest, what do you think the market doesn't yet understand about what it is you're doing?
I think, look, we're we are seeing incredible companies in AI that are targeting verticals, right? Legal is one big vertical. Software is probably where AI has the best product market fit today, right? You're seeing incredible growth in writing code by AI. Roadzen is leading that charge in the world of insurance, specifically in the world of auto insurance. And I think what we are seeing is as you approach this 100 million revenue figure, you become one of those companies that is, high growth. One of the unique things about Roadzen will be we will be profitable at that level, which I don't think many companies have shown. Roadzen is not just selling tokens that are rented from other model providers. We have our own AI models that act in very specific ways in the insurance value chain, and that's what gives us, much higher margins than many of these other companies. And we are showing now that there is tremendous commercial traction to back it up. So that's what I'd like investors to focus on this quarter and for the future.
Well, Rohan, is always great to talk to you. And I know it's been a busy year for you, and it seems like it's paying off. So that's wonderful to hear.
Thank you so much, Jane. Have a
Thanks.
wonderful
We'll
day.
see you next time.